Hi, Jules Bliss Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those who are just joining us, double welcome. I'm thrilled you found it. And, I hope you'll choose to share and stay a while, cruise through the couple hundred videos I have, just shy of a couple hundred, and see what it does for you. There's a lot of good information here, and certainly I am here to encourage you and support you on your journey, whatever that may look like. Whether it's a goal you've just set, hoping to improve some facet of your life, it might be getting rid of excess stuff that's weighing you down. It may be changing your eating plan for yourself first. It has to be a good why. And the why is probably for something for you personally. And then if it happens to benefit those around you or certainly the planet, that is a double blessing. So be sure to share in the comments and let me support you. I struggled today. I made it though. Yay me. Because it was just a difficult day. It's insanely windy in the desert. I was having allergies galore. My students were exceptionally hyper. And I'm always provoked by sweets. And so one of the parents called out of nowhere and said, "Hey, it's my kid's birthday. Can I bring cupcakes?" I told him how many do you bring. There was a couple extra. So I told that student that he could pick 2 friends to give the cupcakes to. And then we were getting down to the end of the cupcakes, and one of my students declined and said he doesn't eat cake. Either do I, right? So he didn't want his. Well, immediately my mind just started calculating how I could sneak that cupcake and consume it. Oh my gosh. And I took a deep breath, and by grace, I let that student know that he could pick another friend to give a cupcake to. But I got very busy at both recesses, and by the end of the day, I hadn't eaten all of the food that I had planned, and so I didn't really realize that I was hungry. I hadn't had enough water either, so I was slightly dehydrated, and I was immediately calculating my ride home and what I could justify eating that was not on my plan. I have this 10-mile trek down a street that has more food and fast food restaurants and food being pumped out for people to smell than should even be legal, to be truthful. And even though I am not eating animal products, I was eating them 1 minute ago. So like every fiber of my being is all too familiar with what was once considered delicious, right? So I calmed down. I ended up eating the rest of my lunch while I was still at school so that I could, make it down. I don't even want to call it the green mile. I'll call it the dark mile. Make it down the dark mile to get safely to home, which, praise God, I made it. So anyway, when I did get home, I was looking for some topic that I wanted to talk about, and I found this fantastic quote. And the quote reads, "The greatest happiness you can the greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness." And that's by William Saroyan. I don't know if that's how you say it. Saroyan. Something fabulous, I'm sure. But let's go through it again. The greatest happiness you can have, because everybody is seeking quick fixes. Everybody's seeking happiness all the time. And they're finding it in creepy things, right? Whether they're a zombie on the couch for hours on end doing video games, whether they are hoarding things they can't possibly use in a lifetime, whether they're consuming an obnoxious amount of food that's killing them far too slowly. Whatever it is, the greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. Can you sit in the discomfort? It's not easy. But instead of a quick fix, I had to think to myself, and I really was processing this, so it was a great coincidence that I came upon this quote, if there's anything known as coincidences. I mean, God handed it to me, right? William Saroyan. Saroyan. But while I was still at school, I was thinking, what is your deal? Do you have to anesthetize yourself? Do you have to bury yourself in food right now? Is there any way you could just sit in the discomfort? There is discomfort going on. I was freaking over that cupcake. And then I'm such a brat. I totally played an April Fool's joke on my assistant principal. and this other teacher. And this other teacher, who's the fourth grade teacher, was actually chosen to stay at the school site, whereas I was not. And this assistant principal is very fond of me, but still, I'm just kind of jabbing a little bit. So I was getting ready to go. It was already after 5 o'clock because I'm still completely committed to be a fantastic teacher, right? So I'm still getting there at 7 in the morning. I'm still leaving at 5 at night because I care about my students to the last second. I care about my commitments. I had a meeting after school. I've already gotten permission to not attend more meetings, but I can't imagine letting those teams down. So, you know, they're still doing 2 meetings a week or whatever is required. And so at the last minute, and knowing it was April Fool's, I decided to just go into that office. The two of them were talking. The fourth grade teacher was seemingly reporting on some problem of some sort. And I just popped into the doorway. Academy Award performance. I popped in the doorway and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for interrupting." And I looked over at the assistant principal and I said, "I just got a memo that they decided to keep me. Are you familiar?" And you just saw her head racing really quick. And then she kind of started to smile like, "Yeah, right. Like, that's not even possible." And I knew she was going there. So I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. I was like crying on the phone with my husband just now because I just couldn't even believe that they decided I could stay. And I'm like holding back the tears. And then she's just looking, and you could just see the puzzle across her face. Is it possible? Is it not possible? Is she kidding? Is she not kidding? And then finally she looked at me after the holding back the tears part and said, "Wow, what an answer to prayer. You've been praying about it, right?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, you are not kidding. But I am. April Fool's." It was so awesome and so cruel. It was so cruel. And they both were like, "Juliana, ah," you know. But I have to joke. I have to tease. I have to play with it because that is part of my stress every single day. I don't have a job secured. I have some things out, but the dates don't close for applications until like June 26th or something. So it could be months before I hear anything. And, you know, I don't want to mention it to my students because I don't want them to stress out, but there's a bunch of things they're inquiring about for next year. And, you know, life is every day. And they need to understand that, in essence, I've been doing a 2-year audition that I didn't get the part for. And, you know, that's just reality, right? I mean, this could be a growing thing, but I know the expectation is that I don't mention it. So I'm trying to have the grace to not mention it and to just sit in the discomfort. So the greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. There's a tremendous amount of freedom in saying, you don't have to entertain me. You don't have to give me gifts. You don't have to surprise me every day. You don't have to be my satiation, you know? Is that a word? You don't have to satiate me. Oh, whatever it is. And it's the same thing with food. Do I really need to be completely satisfied? Can I eat a simple salad that doesn't have bells and whistles? A salad that doesn't certainly have the sad American diet dressing on it. You know, can I have something very simple that is just meeting my dietary needs and not meeting my emotional needs? Not being a party in my mouth every dang minute. That said, even though I technically made it through the day, let me tell you what's making it through the day. Making it through the day is not having any animal products, ideally not having any packaged pre-made food, and certainly not having any form of concentrated sugar. That's me making it through the day. So that said, how did I comfort myself a little bit? I had more avocado than I probably needed. Am I going to fret over avocado? I say not. Especially when just 7 months ago, that avocado had 2 dead hamburgers with bovine fat cheese, mayonnaise, whatever else, and bacon on it. Don't say anything to my pig. Because we've had our pig 2 years, and I think I've had bacon in the last 2 years. That's not my truth today. So if I'm going to have a avocado and a half, or even 2 small avocados or whatever, I'm going to feel okay about that. Seriously, because I have to see the big picture. Many days I have no fat at all. And I mean healthy plant fat, right? Base fat. So if I have too much one day, I think it'll balance out. But mostly if it doesn't provoke me to want more of other things that aren't on my plan, rock and roll, right? All right, peeps, that's my talk for the day. One more time on that quote. The greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. By William Sarion. I'm going to go with that. All right, my friends. As always, like if you like, join us if you haven't. Know that I support you and pray for you. And until we talk again, best of all, trust that you are blessed.